Once upon a time in the bustling city of Crestwood, where the skyline kissed the clouds and the streets pulsed with life, there was a police officer named Jake Thompson. He was a man of average height, with a sturdy build and a face that bore the marks of a life spent in service. His uniform was crisp, his demeanor professional, but beneath the surface, he carried a weight that often made him feel like he was drowning in the very system he had sworn to protect. Jake had been on the force for nearly a decade, and over the years he had seen the best and worst of humanity. He had responded to calls that would make most people shudder, and he had witnessed the struggles of those who lived on the fringes of society. Yet, despite the darkness he encountered, he had always believed in the goodness of people. That belief, however, was beginning to wane. One chilly afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement, Jake found himself on patrol in the downtown area. The streets were crowded with people rushing home from work, their faces a blur of indifference. As he turned a corner, he spotted a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk, his clothes tattered and his face unshaven. The man was mumbling to himself, a half-eaten sandwich clutched in his hand. Jake slowed his patrol car, a mix of curiosity and annoyance bubbling within him. He had seen this man before, often in the same spot, and he had grown tired of the sight. "Get a job, man," he muttered under his breath, rolling his eyes. He stepped out of the car, the sound of his boots echoing against the concrete. "Hey, buddy," he called out, a smirk creeping onto his face. "You planning on doing anything productive today?" The homeless man looked up, his eyes clouded with confusion. "I'm just trying to get by, officer," he replied, his voice shaky. "It's not easy out here." Jake chuckled, a harsh sound that echoed in the empty street. "Yeah, well, life's tough for everyone. You think you're the only one with problems." He turned to walk away, dismissing the man as he had done countless times before. But just as he was about to get back into his car, he heard a voice behind him. "Hey, Thompson!" It was Captain Sarah Mitchell, his superior, striding toward him with purpose. She was a no-nonsense leader, known for her sharp mind and unwavering dedication to her team. Jake's heart sank. He had hoped to avoid her today, especially after his earlier display. "Captain," he said, straightening up, trying to mask the embarrassment creeping into his cheeks, "just doing my rounds." Sarah's gaze flicked to the homeless man, who was now staring at Jake with a mixture of hurt and disbelief. "Is that how we treat people in this city?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with disappointment. Jake opened his mouth to defend himself, but the words caught in his throat. He had always respected Sarah, and the last thing he wanted was to disappoint her. "I was just what?" she interrupted, crossing her arms. "Making a joke at someone's expense. This isn't a game, Thompson. This is a person's life." The homeless man shifted uncomfortably, and Jake felt a pang of guilt wash over him. He had been so wrapped up in his own frustrations that he had forgotten the humanity of the man before him. "I didn't mean to." "Didn't mean to what? Make him feel worse than he already does?" Sarah's voice softened slightly, but her eyes remained fierce. "You need to remember that we're here to serve and protect everyone, not just those who fit into our idea of a good citizen." Jake nodded, the weight of her words settling heavily on his shoulders. "You're right, Captain. I'm sorry." "Apologies don't mean much if you don't change your behavior," she replied, her tone firm but fair. "I want you to spend some time with him, talk to him, find out his story." Jake's heart sank further. He had hoped to avoid this kind of interaction, but he knew better than to argue with Sarah. "Yes, ma'am," he said, forcing a smile as he turned back to the homeless man, who was watching the exchange with wary eyes. "Hey, I'm sorry about that," Jake said, his voice softer now. "What's your name?" "Eddie," the man replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "Eddie Miller." "Okay, Eddie, I'm Jake. Can I sit with you for a minute?" Jake asked, gesturing to the empty space beside him. Eddie hesitated, but eventually nodded. "Sure." As Jake settled onto the cold pavement, he felt the chill seep through his uniform. He glanced at Eddie, who was now looking at him with a mix of curiosity and caution. "So, Eddie, how long have you been out here?" Jake asked, trying to keep the conversation light. About a year now, Eddie replied, his gaze drifting to the ground. Lost my job, then my apartment. It's been tough. Jake nodded, feeling a knot form in his stomach. I'm sorry to hear that. It must be really hard. Eddie shrugged, a resigned expression crossing his face. You get used to it. You learn to survive. But it's not just about food and shelter. It's the loneliness that gets to you. Jake shifted uncomfortably, realizing how little he had considered the emotional toll of homelessness. I can't imagine, he said quietly. What do you do to pass the time? Mostly just sit and think, Eddie said, a hint of bitterness in his voice. Sometimes I talk to people who walk by, but most just ignore me or look away. Jake felt a pang of guilt again, remembering his own dismissive attitude just moments before. I'm sorry for that. I didn't mean to be rude earlier. I guess I was just frustrated. Eddie looked at him, his eyes searching. Frustrated with what? Your job? Yeah, something like that, Jake admitted. It's just, sometimes it feels like we're fighting a losing battle. There's so much crime, so many people in need, and it's overwhelming. Eddie nodded slowly. I get that. But you have a choice. You can either help or just walk away. It's the same for all of us, you know? Jake considered Eddie's words, feeling a flicker of understanding ignite within him. You're right. I guess I've been so caught up in my own problems that I forgot to see others. Just then, Sarah approached again, her expression softening as she observed the two men talking. How's it going? She asked, her tone more relaxed now. Good, I think, Jake replied, glancing at Eddie, who was looking more at ease. We were just talking about life and choices. Good to hear, Sarah said, a hint of approval in her voice. Eddie, if you ever need anything, food, clothing, or even just someone to talk to, don't hesitate to reach out. We have resources available. Eddie looked surprised, his eyes widening. Really? You'd help me? Of course, Sarah replied, her sincerity evident. We're here to serve everyone, not just those who fit a certain mold. You matter, Eddie. Jake watched as Eddie's expression shifted from skepticism to hope. Thank you, Captain. That means a lot. As Sarah walked away, Jake turned back to Eddie, feeling a sense of camaraderie forming between them. You know, I've never really thought about it like that. I've always seen my job as just enforcing the law, but it's more than that, isn't it? Eddie nodded. It is. It's about understanding people, their struggles, and finding ways to help. You have the power to make a difference, even if it's just one person at a time. Jake felt a surge of determination. I want to help. I want to do more than just patrol the streets. I want to be part of the solution. Eddie smiled, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Then do it. You have the badge, the authority. Use it for good. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the city, Jake and Eddie continued to talk, sharing stories and laughter. For the first time in a long while, Jake felt a sense of purpose rekindling within him. He realized that the badge he wore was not just a symbol of authority but a tool for change. Days turned into weeks, and Jake made it a point to check on Eddie regularly. He brought him food, clothing, and even connected him with local shelters that could provide more permanent assistance. Each visit deepened their bond, and Jake found himself looking forward to their conversations, which often stretched late into the evening. One day, as they sat together, Eddie shared a dream he had. I used to be a mechanic, he said, his eyes lighting up. I loved working with my hands, fixing things. I miss it. Why don't you get back into it? Jake asked, intrigued. Eddie shrugged. Who would hire a homeless man? I don't even have a place to live. Jake felt a surge of determination. I can help with that. I'll talk to some local businesses. There has to be someone willing to give you a chance. Eddie looked at him, disbelief etched on his face. You'd really do that? Absolutely, Jake replied, his voice steady. Everyone deserves a second chance, and I believe you can turn your life around. With newfound hope, Eddie agreed to let Jake help him. Over the next few weeks, Jake reached out to various auto repair shops, sharing Eddie's story and advocating for him. It wasn't easy. many were hesitant to hire someone without a permanent address or recent work experience. But Jake persisted, fueled by the belief that Eddie had the potential to reclaim his life. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Jake received a call from a local garage owner named Tom. "I'm willing to give Eddie a shot," Tom said, his voice gruff but kind. "He can start as an apprentice. We'll see how it goes." Jake's heart soared as he relayed the news to Eddie. "You got the job," he exclaimed, unable to contain his excitement. Eddie's eyes widened, and for a moment he was speechless. "Are you serious? I can't believe it." "Believe it," Jake said, grinning. "You start next week. Just remember, it's going to take hard work and dedication, but I know you can do it." As the day approached, Eddie prepared himself for the new chapter in his life. He cleaned up as best as he could, borrowing clothes from a local charity. On his first day at the garage, Jake accompanied him, feeling a mix of pride and nervousness. Tom welcomed Eddie with a firm handshake. "Glad to have you on board. Just remember, it's a learning process. Don't be afraid to ask questions." Eddie nodded, determination etched on his face. "I won't let you down." As the weeks turned into months, Eddie thrived in his new role. He learned quickly, impressing Tom with his skills and work ethic. Jake visited often, cheering him on and celebrating small victories. The bond between them deepened, transforming from mere acquaintances to true friends. However, not everything was smooth sailing. One evening, as Jake was finishing his shift, he received a call about a disturbance in the area where Eddie often slept. His heart raced as he drove to the scene, fearing the worst. When he arrived, he found a crowd gathered around a commotion. Pushing through, he spotted Eddie in the center, surrounded by a group of men who were taunting him. Jake's blood boiled as he recognized the familiar faces of local troublemakers. "Hey, back off!" Jake shouted, stepping forward, his badge visible. The men hesitated, but one of them sneered. "What's it to you, cop? This loser doesn't belong here." Jake's protective instincts kicked in. "He's not a loser. He's working hard to turn his life around. You have no right to treat him like this." Eddie looked up, surprise and gratitude in his eyes. "Jake, it's okay. I can handle it." "No, it's not okay," Jake insisted, standing firm. "You're not alone anymore, Eddie. You have people who care about you." The tension in the air was palpable, but Jake's presence seemed to shift the dynamics. The troublemakers exchanged glances, realizing they were outnumbered. With a few muttered curses, they dispersed, leaving Eddie shaken but unharmed. "Thanks, man," Eddie said, his voice trembling slightly. "I didn't want to cause a scene." "You didn't cause anything," Jake replied, placing a reassuring hand on Eddie's shoulder. "You deserve to be treated with respect. Don't ever forget that." As they walked away from the scene, Eddie sighed, a mix of relief and gratitude washing over him. "I don't know what I'd do without you, Jake." "You'll never have to find out," Jake promised. "I'm here for you, no matter what." With each passing day, Eddie continued to grow more confident in his abilities. He saved money, eventually finding a small apartment, and even began to reconnect with his family. Jake stood by him through it all, celebrating every milestone and offering support during setbacks. One evening, as they sat on a park bench reminiscing about their journey, Eddie turned to Jake, a serious expression on his face. "I want to give back, you know. I've been so lucky to have your help. I want to help others like me." Jake smiled, proud of the man Eddie had become. "That's a great idea. We can volunteer together at shelters or outreach programs. You have a story that can inspire others." Eddie nodded, excitement lighting up his face. "Let's do it. I want to show people that change is possible." As they began to plan their outreach efforts, Jake felt a sense of fulfillment he hadn't experienced in years. He realized that his connection with Eddie had not only transformed Eddie's life, but had also reignited his own passion for serving the community. Months later, as they stood in front of a small group at a local shelter, sharing their stories, Jake felt a profound sense of purpose. Eddie spoke passionately about his journey from homelessness to stability, and the audience listened intently, captivated by his resilience. Jake watched as Eddie's confidence grew with each word, his transformation evident not just in his circumstances but in his spirit. After the presentation, several attendees approached Eddie, eager to hear more and share their own struggles. Jake stood back, allowing Eddie to take the lead, feeling a swell of pride. This was the man he had met on the street, and now he was a beacon of hope for others. As the evening wound down, Jake and Eddie stepped outside into the cool night air. "You were amazing in there," Jake said, clapping Eddie on the back. "You really connected with them." Eddie smiled, a genuine warmth radiating from him. "I couldn't have done it without you, Jake. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." Jake shook his head, feeling a bit bashful. "You did all the hard work. I just pointed you in the right direction." "Still, it means a lot," Eddie replied, his voice sincere. "I want to keep doing this. I want to help others find their way, just like you helped me." Jake nodded, feeling a sense of responsibility. "We can start a program together. We can reach out to more people, provide resources, and create a support network." Eddie's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's a great idea. We can partner with local businesses, get donations, and even organize workshops." As they brainstormed ideas, Jake felt a renewed sense of energy. He realized that this was what he had been missing in his career, a true connection with the community. He had always thought of his job as enforcing the law, but now he understood that it was about building relationships and fostering understanding. Over the next few months, Jake and Eddie worked tirelessly to establish their outreach program. They organized events, collaborated with local shelters, and even secured sponsorships from businesses willing to support their cause. The community began to rally around them, and soon they had a network of volunteers eager to help. One day, as they were setting up for a community event, Jake received a call from Captain Sarah Mitchell. "Jake, I've been hearing great things about your outreach program. I'd like to discuss how the department can support your efforts." Jake's heart raced with excitement. "Really? That would be amazing." When they met, Sarah expressed her admiration for the work they were doing. "It's important for the police to be involved in community initiatives. We need to show that we care about the people we serve." With Sarah's support, they were able to expand their program even further. The police department provided resources, and officers volunteered their time to help with events. The collaboration between the police and the community began to shift perceptions, fostering trust and understanding. As the program grew, so did Jake and Eddie's friendship. They became inseparable, united by their shared mission. They spent countless hours planning, strategizing, and connecting with individuals who needed help. Eddie's story became a symbol of hope, inspiring others to believe in the possibility of change. One evening, as they wrapped up a successful event, Eddie turned to Jake, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, I never thought I'd be here. I thought my life was over when I lost everything." Jake nodded, understanding the weight of those words. "But look at you now. You've built a new life, and you're helping others do the same." Eddie smiled, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. "I couldn't have done it without you. You showed me that I'm worth something." Jake felt a lump in his throat. "You always were, Eddie. You just needed someone to remind you." As they stood together, watching the sun set over the city, Jake realized that their journey had come full circle. The laughter and camaraderie they shared were a testament to the power of connection and compassion. They had both grown in ways they never imagined, and their lives were forever intertwined. Months later, as they prepared for a major community event, Jake received a call from Sarah. "Jake, I have some news. The department is recognizing your outreach program for its impact on the community. We'd like you to accept an award on behalf of the team." Jake was taken aback. "An award? For us?" "Yes. It's a testament to the hard work you and Eddie have put in. You've made a real difference." When the day of the award ceremony arrived, Jake stood on stage, his heart pounding. He looked out at the crowd, filled with familiar faces, friends, volunteers, and those they had helped along the way. Eddie stood beside him, beaming with pride. As Jake accepted the award, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He spoke about the journey they had taken together, the challenges they had faced, and the lives they had touched. "This award isn't just for me or Eddie," he said, his voice steady. It's for everyone who believes in the power of community and compassion. It's a reminder that we can all make a difference, no matter how small. The audience erupted in applause, and Jake felt a sense of fulfillment that he had never experienced before. He glanced at Eddie, who was wiping away tears of joy. In that moment, Jake realized that their bond had transformed not only their lives, but also the lives of countless others. As the ceremony concluded, Jake and Eddie were approached by several individuals who wanted to share their stories. They listened intently, offering support and encouragement, knowing that their journey was far from over. They had created a ripple effect, inspiring others to take action and seek help. In the months that followed, their outreach program continued to flourish. They organized workshops, job fairs, and support groups, providing resources and guidance to those in need. The community began to see the homeless not as a burden, but as individuals with potential and stories worth hearing. One day, as they were preparing for another event, Eddie turned to Jake with a serious expression. "You know, I've been thinking. We should expand our program even further. There are so many people out there who need help, not just the homeless." Jake raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" "I want to create a mentorship program," Eddie explained, his passion evident. "We can connect people who have overcome challenges with those who are still struggling. It could be life-changing." Jake nodded, impressed by Eddie's vision. "That's a fantastic idea. We can pair mentors with mentees, provide training, and create a support network." With renewed energy, they set to work, reaching out to individuals who had successfully turned their lives around. They gathered a team of mentors willing to share their experiences and guide others on their journeys. The program quickly gained traction, and soon they had a waiting list of mentees eager to participate. As the mentorship program launched, Jake and Eddie watched in awe as lives began to change. They witnessed individuals finding jobs, reconnecting with family, and regaining their self-worth. The impact was profound, and the community began to rally around their efforts, offering support and resources. One evening, as they wrapped up a mentorship session, Eddie turned to Jake, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, I never thought I'd be in a position to help others. It feels incredible." Jake smiled, feeling a sense of pride swell within him. "You've come so far, Eddie. You're a testament to the power of resilience and hope." Eddie nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "And it's all thanks to you. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I want to make sure others feel that same support." As they continued their work, Jake and Eddie became known in the community as advocates for change. They spoke at events, sharing their story and encouraging others to get involved. Their friendship deepened, and they became a source of inspiration for one another. One day, as they were preparing for a major fundraising event, Jake received a call from Sarah. "Jake, I have some exciting news. The department wants to partner with you for a citywide initiative to address homelessness and community support." Jake's heart raced with excitement. "Really? That's incredible." "Yes, we want to leverage your program's success to create a comprehensive approach to support those in need. We believe your model can be replicated in other neighborhoods." Jake felt a surge of pride. This is a huge opportunity. We can reach so many more people. As they worked with the department to expand their initiative, Jake and Eddie found themselves at the forefront of a movement. They collaborated with local businesses, nonprofits, and community leaders, creating a network of support that spanned the city. Months later, as they stood at the launch of the citywide initiative, Jake looked out at the crowd gathered to support the cause. He felt a sense of gratitude wash over him as he spotted familiar faces, those they had helped, mentors and mentees, and community members who believed in their mission. Eddie stood beside him, a proud smile on his face. "We did this together, Jake. Look at how far we've come." Jake nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "It's just the beginning. We have so much more to do." As they spoke to the crowd, sharing their vision for the future, Jake realized that their journey had transformed not only their lives but the lives of countless others. They had created a movement rooted in compassion, understanding, and the belief that everyone deserves a second chance. In the years that followed, their initiative continued to grow, impacting communities far beyond Crestwood. Jake and Eddie became advocates for change, traveling to share their story and inspire others to take action. They spoke at conferences, participated in panels, and collaborated with organizations dedicated to addressing homelessness and social issues. Their message resonated with many, and they became symbols of hope and resilience. One day, as they were preparing for a national conference, Jake received a call from a prominent nonprofit organization. "We've been following your work, and we'd like to partner with you to expand your mentorship program on a national level," the director said, excitement evident in her voice. Jake's heart raced. "Are you serious? That would be incredible." "Yes. We believe your model can be adapted to help communities across the country. We want to support you in this endeavor." Jake shared the news with Eddie, who was equally thrilled. "This is a game changer. We can help so many more people." As they began to develop the partnership, they worked tirelessly to refine their program, ensuring it could be effectively implemented in various communities. They created training materials, resources, and a framework that could be tailored to meet the unique needs of different areas. When the day of the national launch arrived, Jake and Eddie stood on stage in front of a packed auditorium, filled with advocates, community leaders, and individuals eager to learn. As they shared their story, they emphasized the importance of connection, compassion, and the belief that everyone has the potential to change their circumstances. The audience was captivated, and as they concluded their presentation, the room erupted in applause. Jake and Eddie exchanged glances, their hearts swelling with pride. They had come so far from that first encounter on the streets, and now they were making a difference on a much larger scale. In the months that followed, their mentorship program began to take root in various cities. They traveled to different locations, training volunteers and sharing their experiences. Each time they saw lives transformed, it reinforced their belief in the power of community and support. One evening, as they returned from a successful training session, Eddie turned to Jake, a contemplative look on his face. "You know, I never imagined my life would turn out like this. I thought I was done for." Jake nodded, understanding the weight of those words. "You've shown so many people that change is possible. You're a living testament to resilience." Eddie smiled, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "And it's all because you took the time to see me. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." Jake felt a lump in his throat. "You've done the hard work, Eddie. You've inspired so many, including me." As they continued their work, they encountered challenges along the way. There were setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when they questioned whether they could truly make a difference. But through it all, they leaned on each other for support, reminding one another of the impact they had already made. One day, as they were preparing for a major fundraising gala, Jake received a call from Sarah. "Jake, I wanted to let you know that the department is recognizing your work with a special award at the gala. It's a testament to the positive change you've brought to the community." Jake was taken aback. "An award? For us?" "Yes. It's a way to honor your dedication and the lives you've touched. You and Eddie deserve this recognition." When the night of the gala arrived, Jake and Eddie stood together, dressed in their best attire, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. As they entered the venue, they were greeted by familiar faces, friends, volunteers, and those they had helped along the way. As the evening progressed, Jake felt a sense of gratitude wash over him. When it was time for the award presentation, he and Eddie were called to the stage. As they accepted the award, Jake spoke from the heart, reflecting on their journey and the importance of community support. "This award isn't just for us," he said, his voice steady. "It's for everyone who believes in the power of compassion and the potential for change. Together, we can make a difference, one person at a time." The audience erupted in applause, and Jake felt a sense of fulfillment that he had never experienced before. He glanced at Eddie, who was beaming with pride. In that moment, Jake realized that their bond had transformed not only their lives, but also the lives of countless others. As the gala concluded, Jake and Eddie were approached by several individuals eager to share their stories. They listened intently, offering support and encouragement, knowing that their journey was far from over. They had created a ripple effect, inspiring others to take action and seek help. In the years that followed, their initiative continued to flourish. They organized workshops, job fairs, and support groups, providing resources and guidance to those in need. The community began to see the homeless not as a burden, but as individuals with potential and stories worth hearing. One day, as they were preparing for another event, Eddie turned to Jake with a serious expression.